Welcome. Let's make sure I'm going live. Yes, it looks like we're going live. Hi, welcome. Welcome to Coming Home to You, another episode, and it's a journey to remembrance. This is a sacred space where we explore what it means to return to the truth of who you are. And it's not by doing more, it's just about remembering our innate wholeness and leaning into that. And today I am so honored to welcome my dear friend and fellow transformational coach, whose mission is to help individuals unlock their full potential by choosing abundance in every area of their life. Now, Danielle's heart-centered approach is rooted in a deep belief that when we align with what truly inspires us, life can expand in extraordinary ways. Through her powerful coaching, she guides others to reconnect with their wisdom, their inner wisdom, step into their clarity, and take bold action towards living lives filled with joy, authenticity, and purpose. Remember, this conversation is about remembrance, but it's also about expansion. And it's an expansion of who you truly are in your inner wisdom. And it's about trusting that life that you dream of is already within you. And it's just waiting for you to say yes, to say yes to you, to say yes to your truth, to your authentic purpose, that authentic spark that lives within you, waiting to be ignited. So let's dive in today first by taking an intentional breath together to connect in this moment, to be grounded in our intention, to be open to receive the messages that our soul is ready to hear today. Take a deep breath in. And as you hold it at the top for a count of 4, just think of something to be grateful for. Hold it there. And as you exhale, just release all the other things that are holding you back, weighing you down. And another normal breath in and out, just intentionally feeling it ground you into Mother Earth. Let her hold you. She's there to receive you. She's there to give you anything you need. Just ask. Thank you. All right, now to officially introduce my beautiful friend, Danielle Longano. Danielle is a transformational coach dedicated to helping individuals unlock their full potential by choosing abundance in every area of life. I feel like I said this earlier, but this is her official bio. So, with a deep belief that life expands in powerful ways when we align with what truly inspires us, Danielle guides clients to reconnect with their inner wisdom, step into clarity, and take bold action towards their most fulfilling lives. Through a heart-centered and empowering approach, Danielle inspires others to live authentically, trust their inner guidance, and create lives rooted in joy, purpose, and abundance. Welcome, Danielle. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Margarita. It is my honor and pleasure to be here with you today, and I acknowledge you for your generosity, for your commitment, and for your love
Mm.
and rippling that out to everybody. So, thank you for your stand. Love you.
Oh, I love you. Thank you for those beautiful words. I receive. And that's something I'm learning to do, folks, about receiving. We can give love all day, but it's about receiving love too. And because you deserve it and you're enough. Just remember that today as we go along this journey together. All right. So, Danielle, um, oh, I'm so excited to have this. I know you're going to go deep. I just can't wait. All right. So, you teach so beautifully about choosing abundance in every area of life. Can you please share with us from your journey when you consciously chose to trust in abundance and how did that decision begin to shift your life?
Good question. Thank you. So for me, even when I was younger, I had this innate ability to look for the good in situations. So I've had a fair share of traumatic, difficult situations throughout my life. And from a young age, I just kept focusing on why this is happening for me instead of being a victim to it.
Mm.
And I didn't realize until later in life that that was a gift. That was a gift that I have been given because so many people don't choose that. And so I started really acknowledging my gift and seeing how I could support other people with it. Now, along this journey, I realized that that gift was a form of abundance. And as I delved into what abundance was and what it meant versus scarcity, I came up with some distinctions of abundance that, ooh, painfully, I was being in a scarcity mindset. And so I made the commitment to myself to embody at least 10 distinctions of abundance daily. Now, this is a choice every single day that we each get to make. This isn't something that it's a one and done. Okay, I'm fixed. Okay. And it is my breakthrough every single day. So, am I an expert at it? No. Am I walking the path? Yes. And so that is my vision for my life is to inspire others to walk that path, to choose abundance. And the first step of that is awareness. It's awareness. We don't know what we don't know. So in every situation, when I create awareness, like we were talking about earlier, it's wow, okay, I'm acknowledging myself for creating that awareness and taking another step, and another step. And each one of those steps add up. And it's a journey over time.
I love what you just said because that's kind of been the theme I'm noticing, is that it is important to remember that it is not a destination, it's not a one and done. It really is a continual growth. And I think that's where we get to expand. And I love how you started off by saying that you were taking the pain or the drama, problems, whatever it was, and innately had this like inner wisdom that talked about seeing the gift there. There must be a gift there. There must be some abundance that I get to expand into from this retraction, from this recoiling, right? And I think that that is the yin and yang. It's going in so that we can expand, right? It's in the inwardness. And then I love how you said that the number one thing for you was the awareness, right? And then doing it over and over again. And it's like a rinse and repeat. So speaking of like that inspiration and inner wisdom, you guide your clients, right, to truly um, to align with what truly inspires them. So how did you personally learn to trust your own guidance? Was there like a time that you doubted it, or how did you find your way back?
Thank you for asking. And I will get emotional. So for me, growing up, I wasn't the easiest person to get along with. I led from doing. I thought that my self-worth was in what I accomplished. And I didn't understand that it was just who I was being, that was enough. So I always thought, and it was limiting beliefs through my parents. Nobody vindictively or maliciously does this, I believe, to their children. And everything is interpreted different. I mean, you could have siblings that grow up in the same house and you have completely different experiences. And so I came from this doing. I have to do to prove my worth. And I believe that people followed me because of my energy, because they were scared to death of me, whatever it was. I just kept leading with force and not looking back. I never looked back. I never questioned. I just led until I'd hit a brick wall and then I would get myself back up and go in another direction. So it was very unconscious. And the one person in my life that unconditionally supported me and called me forth. Okay, so my mom unconditionally loved me, but it was my grandmother, my mother's mother, my Gestapo Italian Sicilian crazy lady, that she called me forth
Mm.
in such a loving way. And she stood for me no matter what. And so she was my mentor, my hero, my cheerleader. And the day she passed was the day that I chose a leadership program because I didn't trust. I didn't trust others. I didn't trust myself. I didn't love myself. I was not vulnerable or authentic. I would read the room and show up with a mask on, whatever mask I thought I needed to put on to be in that room. And it led me along this path of learning to trust myself, trust my inner wisdom, trust my voice, and share that with the world because I believe that the meaning of life is to find our gift and the purpose of life is to give it away. So I am so grateful because her passing at the ripe age of 95 and a half was to let me know that I have it. I've got it. Everything I need is within me. And she handed me this gift of transformation as the pathway, as the vehicle to get there. And
Mm.
so by receiving that gift, my mission in life is for others to see their greatness. I can see their greatness. It is now a superpower that I have is seeing other people's greatness. And my old self wants to shake them and be like, "Don't you see it?" And my new self says, "No, that's not the way." So, with my clients, with my mentees, with my friends, anyone that comes, my intention is for them to see it, for me to ask the questions, not give them the answers. And that has been a learning lesson for me that I have been humbled to. And now that I do trust myself through this process, again, the journey, I am so grateful.
I just need to pause and let all of that land. You said such beautiful pieces there that kept getting the truth bumps in my body. There was a lot of energy moving, but the one that really just like hit me right in my heart center was when you said that it was in the action of finding your true gifts, and then you were in that recognizing that you get to give them away. And that's the true journey of the why of finding them. And I really saw the direct lineage of how your grandmother shared her gift with you. And, eh, it didn't probably look that way when she was doing it, right? But I see it so clearly that now that you're paying it forward now, and because you saw the value in being a loving interruption, and calling people forward because you see their light. But I think what you said was more important there at the end too, is not about giving them the answers. Oftentimes we get so intimidated, right? Bold actions feel heavy sometimes, and we want somebody just to tell us what I'm supposed to do because we were so conditioned to be told what to do as a child and at school and at work, right? It's like always, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Just tell me. And so thinking for yourself, and I think a lot of times for me, what was happening was I was getting too judgmental about when I did think about the things that I was doing that weren't feeling good or yielding the results that I was hoping for. But then I also learned to be just curious and be neutral and not be in that space of beating myself up. Um, how I feel like that is something that else has also supported you on your journey, trusting yourself. Would you say that was a big key component?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, going from judgment, not only judging myself, but then judging others.
Hmm.
And I actually have like visual reminders in my home that from the moment my foot hits the floor out of my bed in the morning to come from a place of curiosity and neutrality versus judgment. And it is a journey. It's not, like I said, it's not a one and done. It's choosing it. And yes, there are days where I want to sit in my stuff and not choose. I want to judge. And that's just being a human. And so now having grace with myself, not coming from judgment, but curiosity. Huh, why is that coming up for you? And I ask, am I angry? Am I sad? Am I hungry? Okay. Just asking those questions and then saying, oh, okay. And what I've found is that when I focus out on gratitude and generosity, my mindset shifts. And so when I experience that, I go inward and I choose generosity. I choose abundance. And it is a choice every day, multiple times.
Yes, I love that you're grounding us in that. I think that's been my message, even on my regular channels. It's like joy is a choice. Everything's a choice. Like choosing, 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 choosing. Like, are you choosing things that are working for you, or choosing things that are setting you back? Self-sabotage. There's a whole nother conversation that we could have about that. But so earlier you mentioned about, the that I mentioned anyways about taking action, or being in that space can feel intimidating, right? So bold action can be rooted in remembrance. So taking bold action can feel intimidating, and especially when we're trying to reconnect with ourselves. How do you keep or help your clients how do you help your clients, and how do you help yourself move forward with boldness that's not rooted in fear, but in remembrance and in that trust that you just perfectly presenced for us?
That's a great questions, Margarita. And for me, it always goes back to vision. It always goes back to intention. So when somebody's hesitating, when I'm hesitating to make a bold step forward, I root myself and I remember why this is important, why I chose this in the first place. So whenever anyone is asking themselves, like, no, I'm scared, I don't want to take a step forward. And usually the first step is the hardest step because it's stepping into the unknown. Then I just ask, why? Why is this important? Could I be sitting on a beach eating bonbons all day? Yes. But is that giving back? Is that stretching? Is that inspiring others? Is that living my best life? And oh my gosh, when I give generously, I get it back so millionfold. When you give without expectations, you open yourself up to such possibilities and such amazingness. I went to college at a Catholic university, which was a big leap of faith for me. I started growing up Catholic, but then my parents got divorced, which was, we were a disgrace to the church. So, first of all, any other human being that judges you, I don't agree with. And that was a difficult shift that we were now shunned from the Catholic Church. And this this entity that was supposed to protect us and love us. And now we weren't allowed. And so it really questioned my spirituality. And I had applied to 10 different colleges, 10 different majors. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I applied from 2,000 undergrads to 40,000. And I was on a path. I chose the path because I got into all of them. I thought I'd get into one and make my life easier. No, all 10, which I'm very grateful for. So I chose a path. I had a dream and I trusted my intuition, not because I remembered the dream. My mother told me about it the next morning. So I got to trust her. I got to
Mm.
trust that it was my path. And I chose a Catholic university that I was already like, I already had my deposit, my room, my class schedule for another school. And I trusted, my dad trusted me because he was paying for it. So we lost that deposit and I chose this other path. And what I learned at this other path at this Catholic university, which a certain Pope graduated from, by the way.
What?
So,
That's cool.
so for me, it was to learn empathy. It was to learn how to give generously, how to give back, to live your best life. And I learned the power of volunteering my time, my energy, my resources, my money. And when I didn't have much was when I gave the most
Mm.
because there's always somebody that needs it more than I do. And I opened up my heart. And then years passed and I kind of went on this greedy, self-centered path until my eyes were open again. So, is there one right or wrong way to do life? No. But if, like you were saying, if it's working for you, great. But if something's missing, and I would go into the bank for 3 of my 7 jobs, and I would say, I'm living the dream. It's just not mine anymore. It's not my dream. There's something missing. And through this path, through trusting myself, trusting the voices I was hearing, the people I was associating with, trusting, it led me to where I am today. So taking that first step could be the scariest. But I will tell you one thing. The only thing I said to myself was, I wish I did it sooner. So how often do you jump, you take the bold step, and the only thing you say at the top of that mountain is, I should have done it sooner. Because there's more mountains to climb. Everest is getting closer because I took that first step.
I
So
love
trust your intuition, and that is what I coach into, is you've got all the answers here.
it. And I, it's so true. I trusting that I was just having this conversation this week about intuition, how earlier we just talked about it on this call about looking outside of us, right? For what to do, what we're supposed to do, even looking for that validation outside of us and not trusting. And I think that we have been almost so detached from our truth that we don't listen to our intuition. We aren't connected to the subtleties. They become more of a whisper than like a loud gut feeling. And sometimes you even have that gut feeling and people just go, ah, and it's like, no, lean in and get curious. Like there's a feeling for a reason. I mean, these are all innate knowings that I think we aren't using them as we're not trusting, I guess is the word, right? I know I wasn't trusting myself. So I love that this whole conversation is rooted on trust because that is where I've gotten a chance to get more intimate with that word. when it comes to trusting myself, trusting what I want to do, because I'll have an idea and I'll pitch it to somebody and they're like, ah, yeah, we'll do this and try that. And then I was like, oh, that sounds like kind of cool. Okay, I'll try that because I think I believe you and I trust you. And then it just doesn't, there's something missing for me in there. Like I remember when I was doing my thesis workshop when we were in the mastering leadership program together, I had a way that I wanted to introduce some of these modalities that I use that have helped me heal. And then my feedback was, are you an expert? Then if you're not an expert, that you shouldn't lean into that. I was like, I'm not trying to be an expert. I'm just saying this is what worked for me, right? And so instead of really trusting myself, I did it a whole different way and I didn't feel authentic in the presentation. And it wasn't until the third time that I did it that I finally leaned in and started doing some of these dance modalities and energy medicine stuff that just felt more energetic, and more healing and more like who I am. And so learning to trust that you have the answers and learning to, maybe it's not the right answer in that moment, but I think you said it too, where it was about that step is the hardest step and you won't know what works or what doesn't until you make that step, and it'll lead you towards, the more steps you take, it'll lead you closer and closer, like you said, to that Everest that you're looking for, right? And you won't know if you're on the right step. And when you're coming up against friction, you're coming up against problems, then you're probably not aligned with your vision or aligned with your true purpose. And it's about then at that point pivoting, having the awareness to just sit and go in and say what's working, what's not working. And I think I love those questions you ask yourself. Am I hungry? Even like, who thinks about asking themselves that? Am I hungry? Is that why I'm being like a little triggered? Did I sleep enough today? Did I give myself care? Like those are all things that when we aren't filling our cup, is what I was hearing you say, is that we can tend to sway and not stay grounded and rooted in our truth of who we are.
Yeah, and going
Yeah.
back to the vision and what works for you and letting go again of that judgment. And like you said, trusting yourself, what feels right for you to share. And what I'm learning is energetically, people light up when they are passionate about what they're saying, what they're doing, how they're being. And I can see people in their daily lives that the light has gone out. And that is not what we're here for. And I love that this
Mm,
is called the Soul Spark Sanctuary. It is really reigniting that spark of something that lights you up. And like we said, just taking that first step, the first scary step. And I connect my clients to the prices they're willing to pay. So for so long, I was not on social media. I am not like a huge, I don't scroll like I just found out what a reel was last year, okay? On March 18th. Okay.
Before you finish,
And
for people who might not know what prices to pay means, can you just quickly give us a little one sentence?
yeah. So basically when you get in touch with the prices you're willing to pay, they're not prices that you necessarily will have to pay. But until you connect with the prices you're willing to pay, which could be rejection, it could be judgment, it could be being ignored. How many people post on Facebook or Insta, whatever, and then they look, how many people liked them? How many people? How many people? How many people? Well, what if nobody likes it? Now, are you judging yourself based off of that? Are you willing to pay the price of going back online? Because until you're willing to pay the price, you're not willing to change and shift. So, connecting with those prices, then afterwards, when you're upset, and I ask you, well, were you willing to pay the price of being rejected? And you said yes. Well, you got rejected. Are you going to die? But did you die? I have a hat that says, but did you die?
I
Okay.
need that.
So the more that you are really in tune with those prices, you might not have to pay them. You might not get rejected. You might not be ignored, ridiculed. But until you're willing to pay that price, your dreams are on the other side.
Mhm.
Because greatness does not come out of comfort zones. It's when we take that step out of our comfort zone and willing to pay the price, especially from our loved ones. My gosh. When your sister is ridiculing you about a post you made on Facebook because you were being vulnerable and authentic, I was willing to pay that price. And she didn't affect me. Whereas before, it would have shut me down. I would have all of a sudden been super self-conscious. Oh no, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But the responses that I got from people thanking me for my vulnerability, for my authenticity, that was worth it. So connecting with those prices. And there are things in my life that I'm still not willing to pay the price. So I'm not making a move in that direction. And I know that. And I'm still choosing not to be willing to pay the price. So until you're willing to pay the price, you're not going to create greatness on the other side. The greatness is on the other side, it's through it. And only you can go through it. Nobody can carry you through that. I mean, yes, the Lord can, the universe, whatever your higher power that you believe in, they can support you through it when you surrender and trust. But you get to do the work. You get to walk through the fire. I will be there to support you, but you get to do the work.
Um, Greatness does not come from your comfort zone. Wow. That is a soundbite. I'm going to quote you on that one. And it's so true. And I think you just gave us, for me, I heard the biggest number one thing that is holding us back. That is that fear, right? Like whenever you're feeling that fear, it's stopping us. And I think what I felt in what you just shared was that it was that I wasn't willing to pay those prices. I wasn't willing for that rejection or to feel, because you shared a situation that happened just to me, that happened to me, but I had the opposite feeling because I guess even though I was doing it to help, I felt ashamed. I felt shameful that I was doing something that close people in my life were having an opposite reaction to it and sharing behind my back those things, right? And I felt like, oh my God. But then I do remember how many more people were being grateful that I was putting myself out there vulnerably, that I was doing it, and they were being inspired to take action in their lives to bring joy to their day. And it was during such a hard time. And so the funny thing is, my story, right? My pattern that I'm noticing is that I have good news and it follows right quickly with some bad news. And that was that particular day, my daughter had, who at the time was, she's 13 now, so she was 9. And she had said, Mom, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, why are you proud of me, honey? She's like, you putting yourself out there doing these videos, you're getting in shape, you have more energy, and you're inspiring these other women to, because I was sharing her the stories of people who were like texting me, and I'm just so proud, like keep going. And then at that evening was when I found out that other family members were having the opposite. Um, and it was just interesting, right? That I allowed that place of not surrendering to the prices to continue. And I stopped. I stopped doing that. And it's something that I regret now, right? And I'm also not about having that judgment hold me back anymore. So now I'm just moving forward and taking action and saying, well, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And it says more about where they are than where I am in life, right? So let's just move on and be the bold takers, the trailblazers, the people who say F it and do it anyway, because those are the people leading the way and being the permission for those who are still not feeling comfortable doing it, who are waiting for you to be a yes for you so that they can be a yes for themselves. And I think this is the importance of us coming together in a community like this to really just presence what it looks like and that it's messy and that
Yeah.
it's not a one and done. And you're going to have these things still coming up, but it's how you pick yourself up and how you lead from there that is really more of choice that you have and how to move forward. You can't control everything, but you do control your choices. And I love that's being really grounded today. So speaking of choices, like choosing joy and purpose every day is so important. And so living authentically and choosing joy is a daily devotion, in my opinion. So, what are some of the small choices? I think you shared a little bit earlier, but what are some of the small choices or practices that you make each day that help keep you connected to your purpose and aligned with abundance?
Very awesome question. And I mean, now, so for me, and everyone is different. For me, consistency was in the gap. And until you create awareness, you don't see what is right in your face, what is right in your blind spot. Everyone else around you can tell you that. So for me, it was consistency. So what I've chosen is consistent daily actions. And I don't start with 20 of them. I started with one consistent daily action to create consistency and abundance and joy. And as I strengthened that muscle, I would add to it. So then I would be up to two per day. And after 3 weeks, I gave myself 21 days, which they say that it takes 21 days to create a habit. Then I would just keep adding. So now I'm up to four different workouts in the morning. Okay. Which is, I'm just adding consistently to it. And my morning and evening rituals have grown. So whether it's starting out with just laying in bed and acknowledging three things you're grateful for. You can start with that. One thing you're grateful for. And it could be, if this is difficult for you, it could be just starting with, I'm breathing. I'm grateful to be breathing. Okay. So this does not have to be hard. That first step is just creating the awareness. So for me, I set alarms. That helps me be consistent. So if you set an alarm, I know on my phone I can put a certain song to my alarm, I can put a message in there. You can remind yourself, what am I grateful for? And you can set an alarm every 4 hours that goes off. What are you grateful for? And it stops you because how many people get in the grind and all of a sudden it's 5 o'clock and you're like, where did the day go? You were not present at all. Or how many times are you in the past? Are you remembering the past? What worked, what didn't work? Or thinking about the future? Those don't exist. Okay. All we have is the present moment, which is a gift. Hello, present. So, what a way to start with gratitude.
Mm.
And for me, it's nature. I am a water person. It could be a puddle in the front yard. I don't care. Water soothes me, water calms me. So, whatever it is for you, tap into it.
Mm.
Not everyone's path is the same. The how does not matter, it's how you're being that matters. There are 9 million ways to be grateful, there are 9 million ways to be joyful. Choose one and be consistent with it daily and see how your life shifts.
Yes, it's not the how, it's the who you're being. And that's so true. the being has comes up a lot. Like, be the what it is that you want, right? To have or to do and then do, right? Be, do, have is what we would hear in leadership. Be, do, to have. So the being is so important. And I think that comes down to intention. Like, what is your intention for the day?
Yep.
Um, so grounding yourself in gratitude each morning and night, super beautiful. And what a way to just always constantly be in abundance, because that is the frequency of abundance, is being in gratitude. And so when you can just, I think there there was a call that I was on. I was like, if you brushed your teeth or got out of bed, celebrate yourself. You're already winning.
Yes.
Like, let's go. It's
Yeah.
simple. It doesn't have to be hard. And I thank you ground so much for grounding this call in that. Like, it doesn't have to be hard. And whatever it is that works for you, like, trust yourself. What is aligning? What is creating that little bit of spark of that passion and that joy? Like, oh, I remember I'm reading this book, and I think it's called Risks Forward. And in there, she was talking about this gentleman who just loves Lego. Like, he just loves Lego, but he is in like this data software programming kind of company that he was a founder of. And the coaching he got was to find a way to meld the two, his passion for Lego and his passion for this career. And so he uses Lego as analogy to describe some of the processes and things like that. And so he's got so niche in his branding that he is known for that. And that, what a beautiful way to like blend your passions for what you're already doing. And I think that is such a beautiful way. I think we feel like we have to either have a hobby and do the work over here, but what if we can actually have our hobby mold it somehow in the things that we already love to do? Talk about expressing your uniqueness in the world
Yeah. I
and your
love that.
authentic spark, your only authentic spark out there. And I think that's where we get to go. We get to reinvent ourselves, reinvent the wheel of what work and career and businesses look like.
Yeah. Yeah. And I invite everyone to go back to their childhood. What lit them up? Kids are fully authentic. They will let you know when they don't want to do something, and they will be at something for hours. So go back to your childhood. What lit you up? And like you said, Margarita, how can you weave that into your niche of whatever lights you up so that you don't work a day in your life?
I used to joke before like all this internet and stuff. I was like, if I could just invent my own job that incorporates all the things I love to do that I'm really good at, that would be amazing. Because it would always feel such like I don't want to just choose one thing, because I'm not gonna just love to do that one thing. Like, I love that one thing, but I also love this one thing. And so I would start to get in my head about being the jack of all trades, master of none. There's fun in that, but there's also like, where am I really supposed to be? Right. So there was like a part of myself that was getting judgmental of like, oh, I should have a specialty. What's my special? What am I the one thing I'm known for? I'm like, what if my one thing I'm known for is like how to meld your passion and your into your career? Like, I'm just
Oh,
figuring it out as I go, and I won't know what that is until I move forward and I take myself on every day, having these conversations, getting curious, and just like seeing where what lights me up. And
exactly.
so, right, so as we want to leave a message for those who are listening, who are still on that path, standing on that threshold, like worried about making that next step, but they're ready. They're ready to choose life. They're ready to choose that life of joy and purpose and abundance. So, but there's something holding them back. So, what would be, besides, I love the invitation to go to their inner child. Okay, that was a beautiful one. So, you already gave us that. But what would you invite her to remember today?
So I have two things to leave you with. One, from my Sicilian grandmother: throw the spaghetti against the wall until something sticks. So keep exploring what lights you up. Without taking that first step, it's all just up here and in here. Jump, jump off the cliff And then, like my hat says, but did you die? Okay. So take that first step. And I have a plaque on my living room wall, and it said, the secret to having it all is believing that you do. Love what you have, you'll have everything that you need. So be grateful for what you have. And the universe is unlimited. There is plenty for everybody. And when we come from abundance, collaboration, we share that with the world.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for this conversation. I know that I could talk to you forever and ever. Um, so thank you for those gifts of, the spaghetti. I love the analogy too, the visual that I got from the spaghetti. I haven't done that since I was a kid, by the way. Another inner child thing that
There you
I
go.
grew up.
Yeah.
So, um, so remember, so thank you as we wrap up this call. I just want to thank you so much for being here. And some of the things to take away today from this call was that the number one thing to start with is awareness, being aware of what's working, what's not working, being in curiosity and not judgment, and then just going forward. Get grounded in what the prices that you are willing to pay are. Are you willing to be rejected? Are you willing to look bad? Are you willing to be embarrassed and vulnerable? Those are really hard things, and those are the things that are stopping us. So if you really are finding yourself at a threshold and really making it hard to make that decision, write down what's going to happen to you if you do it. And then, like, if you're willing and open, because you're not going to die, remembering that you're not going to die at the end, then just lean forward and just try it. You'll not, and what if you succeed? What if you end up flying and not falling? Like,
Yep.
there's that. Okay. So stop being the person that stops yourself. Um, because it does take 21 days to create a new habit. And it's all about attaching your self-worth to the accomplishments, or not attaching yourself to the accomplishments is what I mean. Your self-worth, you are worthy just by being. You were born whole. And because you make a mistake doesn't make you broken. It makes you human. And it's okay, because it's in the mistakes that we see the gift of how we get to expand and grow. So I remember you telling me, Danielle, that you were doing like a bingo rejection challenge where your goal was to fill up that bingo card of all the rejections. And I think what that gave you was the okay of, like, you didn't die. And I think that's probably why you got after that, you're like,
But did you die?
but
Yeah.
did you die? That's what it is. And one of the great ways to lean forward in that price is to focus out. Focus on how you stepping forward can really impact and inspire others, and inspire yourself to do it again, because that's where confidence comes from, is doing small little actions that light you up. And it's not about making big bold actions. Just start with small little baby steps, do them again and again, rinse and repeat, and then add to that, as Danielle was saying, because then you will have the evidence now of that accomplishment, that you can do big things. I think I heard Tony Robbins say that people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but underestimate what they can accomplish in 10. I think that's how it goes. And that's so true. So remember to take that first step, because it is the hardest one, and surround yourself with people who are going to lovingly call you forward. Surround yourselves with the people who are going to see you in your light and your greatness, not be in judgment. And if people do come to you at judgment, remember it's not about you. It says more about where they are in their lives. And you're bringing forward something in them that they are not willing to risk yet. And you're being a mirror to them of where they're holding themselves back. So remember, it's not about you. And so as we walk this path together, I want to deeply Saying great gratitude to Danielle for being so beautiful in her wisdom and sharing so generously today. Your energy and your unwavering belief in your heart is so big. I feel it every time we connect on a conversation. I just feel so present with you because your heart is that big. And you're so like accepting and loving in the way that you show up. So your unwavering belief in in abundance is something that we all chase. So it's grateful that you're here to remind us how easy it is and how simple it can be. So if today's conversation sparked a knowing inside of you, trust it. Lean in. Your joy, your purpose, and your abundance, it's already yours. You get to choose it. And if you are ready to go even deeper on your own journey of remembrance and expansion, I'd like Danielle, if she has anything to offer for you to connect with her, she can leave it here. And also, I'll put it on the descriptions so that you can connect with her and see where your life can take you in your abundance and joy.
Yay, awesome. And I do have the 5 daily habits that I came up with so that you can create your own prosperity abundance blueprint. So this you can hang up on your bathroom mirror, on your refrigerator, and it's 5 simple daily habits that you can start today. So I will get with Margarita and see how I can share that with y'all. And I'm super excited. So share what you're choosing today because intention without committed action is a fantasy.
True
So
that.
what are you committed to creating today to choose abundance?
Yes, because you are worthy of choosing a life that lights you up. Until
Yes.
next time, remember to keep choosing yourself, keep choosing joy, keep coming home to you, to your true authentic spark. I am Mama Rita Rose, Margarita Rose. Until next time, be kind to yourself and others, lead from love, and choose joy. Be well.
Awesome.